Hi, I'm so glad you guys are here. Today I'm going to be going through every single book that is on my entire TBR. You can probably see behind me, this is my TBR shelf. I am so lucky to have these built-in shelves in my room. It just makes the most perfect TBR shelf. All of my books that are on my TBR are back here, and then I also have a few books off to the side that I keep in a separate bookshelf that I'm also going to be adding as well. Without further ado, let's just go ahead and get right on into it. All right, first up is Beach Read by Emily Henry. It's about time that I read this book, guys. I understand, I know. I read Happy Place back in the summer and I loved it. And so I've just been craving Emily Henry's writing for the longest time. But this is definitely gonna be a summer read. Next, I have Heavenly Bodies by Imani Ariu. I am a romantasy girly at heart. This is one that is high on my list. The only thing with romantasy books is I like to wait until more of the books are out in the series. This is definitely one of those that I'm gonna tackle soon or toward the end of the year because the second book has just come out. So I feel like it would be a good time to start this. Next, I have The Mortal Instruments Book 1, City of Bones. I haven't even started this series, and I know that this is one that I really want to read. Bigger series really intimidate me right now, especially since I'm in nursing school. This isn't even on my TBR for the next few months just because there's no way I'm reading this whole series. Look at that. That is huge. I can't wait to one day read it, but not right now. Next, we have Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. This is, I think, one of her first books that became really popular. I have read Yours Truly and I absolutely love that book. That was my, oh, I love that couple so much. I just want to read more of Abby Jimenez's writing. She's an amazing author. This one I think is about a city girl and a farm boy. She's like the city girl and like this ER doctor. Everything has been very like perfect for her whole life. And then she gets this taste of the country because of meeting him and like striking a deal with him. I don't really know. I'm sorry if I'm getting this wrong. And then she starts to realize she loves the simplicity of it. Correct? Maybe? I don't know, but it just sounds really good. Next is The Way I Used to Be by Amber Smith. This is one of the first books that I've ever bought and I just haven't picked it up. I still have mixed feelings towards this book. There's no gravitation towards this book to pick it up. I just have never been in the mood for it. So we will see if this ends up in my to-go pile. But maybe, who knows, maybe you guys can convince me to read it. So then I have The Hunger Games and Mockingjay in the Hunger Games series. Now you might be like, why the heck do you only have 2 books? So I thrift for my Hunger Games books. I try to thrift any book, honestly. I always go to half price books first, but I will only buy books that are in pretty good condition, if not new condition. That's why I only have these 2, because I have not found any copies of Catching Fire that are new, or I honestly haven't even seen any copies of Catching Fire. This is a series that I am going to be starting this summer because of the new movie coming out. So I want to just binge the whole entire series and watch all the movies again. I have watched the movies, but I haven't read any of the books. So I will be giving a reading vlog of me reading all of these books for the first time. Then we have Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I'm so excited about this book. I have recently gotten into Star Wars this summer. I don't really know why. But my friend introduced me to it and I absolutely fell in love with it. And I love Padme and Anakin. They're my favorite like movie couple ever. And so, not that this is like Star Wars, but I think I really do like the whole sci-fi genre. Anything that has to do with like science and fiction, I just find very fascinating. And so I heard that this is like the sci-fi version of The Hunger Games. I don't really know, or at least the first book is, and that's very intriguing to me. So I'm definitely gonna be starting that this year. Then I have The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. This is a very ambitious read for me because I think this is a higher fantasy book, or at least it's way more politics based. I think that I will really love this series, but I know that also this is an emotional read, very hard to get through. So, but you know what? I love that in fantasy, so it's okay. Next we have The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. This was a random trilogy that I found out about last year, and this is based off of Russian folklore and myths. I believe, yeah, it is. This girl like being in this forest and she finds out that there's this thing that's haunting her, and it's just this like, people say it's a very like hauntingly beautiful story, and then it takes off from here. I've heard really amazing things about this, so this is definitely one that I want to read for sure. Okay, then we have The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. You guys will be so surprised when I say I have not read any Ali Hazelwood books. Yeah, I know. I'm going to be reading this book next though. I'm reading Beartown right now and this is the next on my list because I really want to see what the hype is about. Also, that The Love Hypothesis movie is coming out this year, I think, and I love the main character, Lily Reinhart. I don't know how to say her name, but I love her as an actress. And so I've heard that this is like Grumpy Sunshine, maybe, but it's like a like colder, quieter male main character, and then like a quirkier, happier female. Okay, guys, I don't know what I'm saying. I know that Miss Ali Hazelwood's writing is amazing and that she's a very quirky author with a lot of humor in her books. One of my favorite things about a book is when it can make me laugh, and I just think I could really experience that from her. So I guess we'll find out soon. And next is Fireborn by Rosaria Munda. So I honestly don't know much about this book. The only thing that I know is that it's like similar to Fourth Wing, but it actually came out before Fourth Wing. This came out in 2019. So this is not a like Fourth Wing copy. This is the blueprint. No, I'm kidding. It's about these like two kids who grew up in like poor families, and there's like this revolution going on, and there's these dragon riders, and I think they become dragon riders. So it's basically like that, and I think it is an academic setting as well. What I love about fantasy books is when they have a map, and this book does not have a map. All right, never mind. This book does not have one. I was gonna say that this is gonna make this book so much better if there's a map, but there is not one, so that is weird. But I love The House of the Dragon by like the Game of Thrones franchise. That's one of my favorite shows. I find it so interesting. And so I really hope that this just gives somewhat of those vibes, but I honestly don't know. So we'll see. Then we have The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. She is actually the author of Dance of Thieves, the really popular duology. This is one of her first few books, and this is actually part of a trilogy, but this just sounds really interesting. But it's like about a princess that goes undercover, and it's kind of just like her dealing with the politics of this world, and she's like a warrior too, you know, all that stuff. So it sounds like a really interesting story. Guys, there is a map. The pages are so floppy. How many pages is this? Like 400. Guys, this is like a 475 page book. That does not look like it. So this is another book that I got in the very beginning of my reading journey when I first figured out that I liked romantasy. And I found this randomly in Barnes & Noble, and I was like, yeah, that looks good. Called The Princess Will Save You by Sarah Henning. So I've heard that this is very similar to like a Princess Bride situation. It just gives the same vibes. Is there like a love triangle? I don't really know what's going on. When her father dies, Princess Amarandi is given an ultimatum: marry the leader of a neighboring kingdom or lose her crown and possibly her life. To force her hand, her beloved, the stable boy Luca, is kidnapped. And then it says, but Amarandi was raised to be a warrior, not a sacrifice, and nothing will stop her from saving her true love. So she has a true love, but she needs to get married off. So then it's just the situation of her trying to rescue her true love, basically. So it sounds good. It sounds good. Next, we have The Lux by Anna Goberson. So this was another book that I got at like a thrift store or Half Price Books, and it just sounded really interesting. This is a series, and I think this is like the YA version of Gossip Girl, but make it upstate New York in the 1800s. Basically, I just love historical reads. Like I love Bridgerton. That's one of my favorite TV series of all time. And I feel like this could give very similar vibes to that. So I have another Abby Jimenez book just for the summer on my list. I will be reading this summer. I will probably make a reading vlog where I read like popular book talk summer books, like Just for the Summer, Beach Read, some of those books. That way I can just get through them and finally experience what it's like to be an Abby Jimenez and Emily Henry stan. So yeah. I have Curse of the Wolf King by Sonja Odette. I apologize if I'm saying that so wrong. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling book, and I just really love fairy tales. I love just like the storytelling of fairy tales. And so anytime you mix that with a fantasy and a romance, an adult book, yeah, I'll read it every single time. This is a very unpopular opinion, but I loved ACOTAR book 1. That says a lot about me, I know, but hold on, please. I loved the whole like Beauty and the Beast aspect of it. I did not like Tamlin, but I liked the like vibes of the book. Does that make sense? Like all the flowers, like eternal spring. Like I love that. I love fantasy with fairy tales. Like it's so good. Okay, finally I have a book on this list that's not fantasy or romance. Clearly I'm a romance fantasy girl. Okay, I apologize. But I have a mystery thriller. This is called The Last Mrs. Parrish by Liv Constantine. I have not heard much about this. I honestly looked up on Google. Mystery thriller books about someone that comes in and works for a family and starts to realize that everything isn't as it seems. People in the family are keeping secrets from each other, and this person gets in the middle of it and starts messing around and maybe gets involved with one of the people in the family. That stirs up even more drama. Anyway, you get the point. This is what it gave me. This is what Google recommended to me. So basically what this is about, the main character is kind of like a nobody. She's tired of just blending into the background, and she's jealous of this family in her city that are kind of like the picture perfect Barbie and Ken. Everything looks perfect, they're happy, they're rich, all of that. Amber, the main character, is very jealous, and so she uses Daphne's compassion and friendship to kind of insinuate herself into the family's life, and like makes these schemes to try to like become her or him. I don't really know. That's literally exactly what I typed into Google, so this is perfect. I'm so excited for this. Surprise, another fantasy. We have A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. I love Scottish folklore. If there's one thing about me, I want to go to Scotland so bad. I want to go to Ireland so bad. There's nothing that I want more in this world than to be reading a book in an Irish pub with an Irish beer doing the Irish jig. A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross, I've heard, kind of gives those vibes, just like very fairy tale-ish, Scottish, folklore-ish vibes. Next book is Magnolia Parks by Jesta Hastings. It's honestly about time that I read this series. I can't wait for nursing school to be done because I will be diving headfirst into this series. Next we have Fury Born by Claire Legrand. This is a YA fantasy about these two women that are living in different time periods, live 1,000 years apart from each other, and it's following both of them, kind of like this like cosmic war that spans among millennia, and it's kind of like how their stories connect and determine the fate of their world. I love that I just told you that and I was just reading off the back of the book. I was trying to act really intelligent there, but that just did not land well at all. Maybe one day I'll get to this. Okay, I didn't realize that those books up there I have already read. For some reason they're just mixed in with my TBR, so I apologize for that. Next book is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This is a sci-fi fairy tale retelling story set in like this cyborg-like world, and each book is about a different Disney princess if they were cyborgs. The plot is really interesting and intriguing, but I just am like, will I love it? Like, will I really like it? I don't know. Next is 1,000 Heartbeats by Kira Cass. This is a YA about like a princess and she has a forbidden lover, and it's basically just about like her story of wanting to be with this guy and they're not allowed to be together, and it's just kind of like all that. It sounds really good. So this book is high on my to be read list this year. The only thing is that I want to wait until a couple more books come out. I'll probably wait until the second book in this series comes out because I think it comes out in a few months. But Direbound by Sable Sorensen. This was in a lot of people's top books of 2025. And I've just heard that this is compared to Fourth Wing ACOTAR type books. Not saying that they're anything like them, but just saying like on that level of love and attachment to this series like the other ones. And guys, okay, I really want to read Taming Seven this year. I love the Boys of Tommen series. I read the first 4 books last year and I absolutely fell in love with all the characters. My favorite are Joey and Aoife. Love them so much. But then I took a break after Redeeming 6 because I wanted to wait until Releasing 10 came out last year to continue on with the series. However, I've heard that Releasing 10 is absolutely devastating, and so I was like, okay, I want to wait until the next book comes out. That way I don't have to end it on like a really sad, devastating note. I can at least look forward to something a little lighter. So I'm gonna wait to read this until the next book in that series comes out. Next we have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This is just a staple I've heard for every fantasy reader that you need to read this. And yeah, it's about time I get to this book, so hopefully within the next year I will. Next is Kill for Me, Kill for You by Steve Kavanaugh. This book is a thriller, mystery thriller about these two women that have revenge that they want to act upon, and they meet each other and they realize that they can help each other out, and it's kind of following that storyline. One of my favorite YouTubers, Sarah Crowley, rated this pretty highly last year, and so that gives me even more motivation to read this. Then I have From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is a fantasy, adult fantasy book. It's one of many books in a series. And I don't know much about this other than it is compared to a lot of the other bigger romantasy books. And it just looks really good. I have The Wish Granter by C.J. Redwine. This is a fairy tale YA book. This is the map. It's really cool. Let me just read the synopsis really quickly. The world has turned upside down for Thad and Ari Glavin, the bastard twins of Sundarel's king. Their mother was murdered. The royal family died mysteriously, and now Thad sits on the throne of a kingdom whose streets are suddenly overrun with violence he can't stop. Growing up ignored by the nobility, Ari never wanted to be a proper princess. And when Thad suddenly starts training Ari to take his place, she realizes that her brother's ascension to the throne wasn't fate. It was the work of a wish granter named Alastair Teague, who tricked Thad into wishing away both the safety of his people and his soul in exchange for the crown. So Ari recruits the help of Thad's enigmatic new weapons master, Sebastian Vaughn, to teach her how to fight Teague. With secret ties to Teague's criminal empire, Sebastian might just hold the key to discovering Alastair's weaknesses, saving Ari's brother and herself. But Teague is ruthless and more than ready to destroy anyone who dares stand in his way, and now he has his sights set on the princess. And if Ari can't outwit him, she'll lose Sebastian, her brother, and her soul. It's kind of giving the Cruel Prince vibes is what I'm getting from it. Then I have 2 Christian books that I want to show you guys. How to Tell the Truth, The Story of How God Saved Me to Win Hearts, Not Just Arguments, by Preston Perry. It's like his testimony story of how he came from like nothing and became saved by the Lord. And he had like a big ego at first in his faith, and then the Lord changed his heart to preach to others rather than wanting the credit himself. And so I think that this is going to be a very informative book and like a life-changing book for me as a Christian. Then I have Gentle and Lowly by Dane Ortlund. This is a book all about Jesus's heart and just who he is, and just a bunch of his attributes taken directly from the scriptures. I just think this is going to be such a life-changing book. I have Eragon by Christopher Paolini. I bought this book when I was in a fourth wing kick, so I don't know if I'm ever going to read this because I know that this is very catered towards the teen age, so I don't know if I'm going to like love this, but I know it's super popular, so I'm going to keep it around. Maybe one day I'll read it, or maybe I'll just give it to my kids one day. Along with that, I also have the second book in this series as well. Lastly, I have How Does It Feel by Jeanne O'Reilly. I think this is also going to be another book that I'm just going to get rid of because I don't know. I think I bought this one time a long time ago when I heard someone on TikTok saying that the ending plot twist is like one of the craziest plot twists ever. And so I just was really intrigued by that, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to make me read the book, you know? That was the end of my TBR, my full TBR. As we can see, I love romance and I love fantasy, so you are going to be seeing a lot of that from me this year. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time.